190 acres. A clubhouse, 18 greens, a maintenance shed, and a check for $65 million. That is what Boca Raton, Florida accepted for its public golf course. Not from a golf company, from a home builder. The buyer plans to put houses where the fairways used to be. Read that number again, $65 million for grass. No resort, no clubhouse renovation, no membership drive, just a home builder doing arithmetic on a spreadsheet somewhere else entirely. Because a golf course is not one business, it is two. One of them collects green fees and barely breaks even. The other one is a 200-acre land bank, quietly waiting for a rezoning meeting. Almost nobody who buys a golf course understands they are buying both. So here's the plan. We build a golf course from zero using real numbers. Construction cost, water bills, green fees, maintenance budgets. Then we find where the actual money hides because it is rarely the golf. Then the part nobody puts in the brochure, the water fights, the lawsuits, and the exit. Start with supply because this market looks nothing like a growth story. There are roughly 16,000 golf courses in America today. That is more than McDonald's, more than Dunkin', and the count has been shrinking for 2 decades. Since 2006, supply has contracted by about 13%. The good news, if you want to call it that, closures have finally slowed. Last year saw the fewest course shutdowns in nearly 2 decades, and openings hit their highest mark since 2010. Demand looks healthy too. 48 million Americans played at least one round last year. Participation is up 43% since 2016. So golf itself is fine. What is not fine is the economics of owning the real estate underneath it. Start with the ticket price to build one from scratch. A standard 18-hole course runs between $5 and $15 million. Push toward premium turf and water features, and luxury builds past $25 million. Per hole, that is roughly $110,000 to nearly $400,000. And here is the line nobody expects. Land acquisition alone eats 40 to 50% of the entire budget. You need 150 to 200 acres for a regulation 18 holes. Before you plant a single blade of grass, half your money is gone, and none of it has built anything yet. Construction itself runs 18 to 30 months, 6 months just for permitting, 12 to 18 for shaping the ground, laying irrigation, growing in the turf. You are 2 years and $10 million in before your first paying customer ever tees off. Now the ongoing bill, and this is where golf gets genuinely strange as a business, median maintenance budget for an 18-hole course nationally is about $1 million a year. In the Southwest, that jumps to $1.5 million. Labor alone runs about $900,000 of it. Fertilizer, fungicide, equipment leases eat most of the rest. Then there is water. And water is the line item that breaks courses. A single 18-hole facility can spend over $1 million a year just on irrigation. In the Southwest specifically, the average water bill alone runs around $266,000 a year. Some courses report a swing of a full $1 million in water cost between neighbors just a few miles apart. Same grass, same climate, wildly different water rights, and wildly different bills. That is the brochure. $10 million to build, $1 million a year to maintain before a single green fee arrives. Now the revenue side, and it is thinner than people assume. The average public green fee in America is about $41 a round. A private club, factoring dues and fees together, costs closer to $60 just to produce one round of golf. Rounds per 18 holes run somewhere around $20,000 a year for a healthy private club. Multiply that out, 20,000 rounds, against a maintenance cost near $1 million. The margin on the golf itself is thin, often single digits, even at a well-run facility. Food, beverage, and merchandise help. A well-managed club can add $700 to $900 per round in ancillary spend, but that upside requires members who actually show up and staff who actually upsell them. Miss on either, and the golf operation barely covers its own grass. Now the twist, because the real value is never in the 18 holes. It is in the acreage those 18 holes are quietly sitting on top of. 200 acres near a growing city is not a golf course. It is undeveloped inventory, disguised as a hobby. Boca Raton's course sold for $65 million. It was actually outbid by a second builder offering $73 million. The city took the lower bid anyway. The higher one came with costly traffic obligations attached. Either way, that land was never valued as golf. It was valued as future housing. It is not an isolated case. Myrtle Beach has gone from about 120 courses to 90 since 2000. Almost none of that land sat empty afterward. It became subdivisions. Homes built where a course used to sit do not just sell, they sell at a premium. One study found homes near a redeveloped course appreciated 27% faster than the surrounding market. New buyers pay for open space and mature trees. They are buying a park. The course was never the point, which explains an entire category of buyer that exists only to run this exact play. Golf course lots sold, on average, above $400,000 in a recent year nationally. Some operators specifically target older, worn-out daily fee courses, not to fix the golf, to wait out the rezoning. They collect thin green fee revenue for years, treating it as a carrying cost on the land, not as the actual business. Some structure the golf operation as its own entity, so any losses offset other income on paper, while the land itself accumulates value completely untaxed until the day it actually sells. The exit was decided the day they bought it. Everything before that is just holding period. This is why golf course brokers now speak two entirely separate languages. One is price per round, the other is price per acre. Only one of those tends to be the real number. Now the risks, and golf has an unusually specific set of them. Risk 1. Water is not guaranteed and the rules can change under you mid-lease. During California's drought, one course was forced to cut irrigation to its fairways entirely because supply access simply vanished. Mandatory water restrictions at some facilities have risen sharply, from single digits to nearly 1 in 5 since 2005. You do not own water. You own a permit to use it for as long as the permit allows. Risk 2. The neighbors do not want your exit strategy. They want their view preserved forever. In Reston, Virginia, a developer proposed nearly 300 new homes on part of a 60-year-old course. The Homeowners Association fought it. They countered with a plan to preserve half the land as open space instead. In Denver's Park Hill, residents used a decades-old conservation easement, then a ballot initiative to block redevelopment outright. They eventually forced a land swap, keeping the course as public parkland against the owner's original plan. Your land banking strategy assumes you control the rezoning timeline. The people living beside the 7th fairway often do not agree. Risk 3. The golf operation can quietly bleed you while you wait for that meeting. A course losing players and revenue every year is still a course, with a full maintenance bill every single month. Some owners describe this plainly. The golf business is the carrying cost. The land sale is the actual return. That works until the wait runs long enough. Then carrying costs exceed whatever premium the land eventually fetches. Risk 4. Golf's own reputation problem hits some courses harder than others. Value-priced courses, under $40 a round, absorb the disproportionate share of the last 2 decades of closures. Premium courses in growing metros held up fine. Aging municipal courses in shrinking towns did not. Which kind you bought determines the outcome, whether you are sitting on Boca Raton or a slow bleed with no buyer in sight. All right, numbers. 3 versions of this business. Scenario 1, you build new and you plan to operate it for decades. 18 holes, mid-tier public course. $10 million all in, including land. 15,000 rounds a year at $55 average. Roughly $825,000 in green fee revenue. Ancillary spend at $400 per round adds another $6 million. Combined revenue, about $6.8 million. Maintenance and operations run close to $5.5 million. Once you include staff, water, and overhead beyond the course itself, net operating income lands around $1 million a year. On $10 million invested, 10% before debt service. A real steady return if nothing unusual happens with your water bill or your neighbors. Scenario 2. You buy an aging daily fee course purely as a land position, 180 acres near an expanding suburb. Purchased at $3 million, priced as a struggling golf business, not as land. You operate it minimally for 6 years, losing roughly $100,000 annually after all expenses. Total carrying cost, $600,000. Total capital committed, $3.6 million. Property taxes on golf-zoned land run far below residential rates in most counties, which is exactly why this math works. The moment the rezoning is approved, that tax bill resets to reflect the new, much higher use. At year 6, the county approves rezoning. You sell to a home builder at $40,000 per acre, $7.2 million against $3.6 million invested. You doubled your money and barely touched a lawnmower. Scenario 3, the bad year drawn from real events in this industry. A drought forces a 30% cut to your irrigation allocation mid-season with no warning. Fairways brown out, rounds drop because golfers will not pay full price to play on dead turf. At the same time, the surrounding Homeowners Association organizes against your redevelopment plan, exactly as happened in Reston. Legal costs and delay stretch your holding period 2 years longer than modeled. Your carrying losses double, and the county election that was meant to approve your rezoning brings in a slow growth council instead. None of this is exotic. Every element happened somewhere in America on some course in the last 5 years. So who is this business for? If you want the golf operation itself, the return is thin and seasonal. Highly dependent on water and labor costs you do not fully control. If you want the land underneath it, the return can be extraordinary, but it depends entirely on politics you cannot schedule. $65 million for a golf course was never a golf number. It was a housing number, wearing a golf costume for 30 years. The grass was never the asset. The zoning underneath it always was. If this was useful, subscribe. We are working through the businesses that look simple from outside.